Hello, listeners, and welcome to another week here on Chasm Converses. This week, my guest is Dylan Guest, a creative individual and musician from Adelaide. He talks through his years playing guitar and bass in multiple bands. We reminisce on a tour we played together a few years ago, and both realised that we play the bass guitar like an electric. And he shares his experiences with his current band, Spaghetti Death Trap, and we take a trip into his YouTube and Twitch work. Be sure to add Wine Tour by Spaghetti Death Trap, that's playing right now, to your playlists, and join us for the conversation, and let's get conversing. Chasm Converses. Dylan Guest, welcome to Chasm Converses.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
So cool to see you today. I love the fact that we're both in our own little temporary setups here when it comes to our laptops and stuff. I think we both shifted things out of the way of the rooms that we're in to get this all set up. But either way, it's great that we've made this work.
Yeah, you got it. Sometimes you just got to make things do the best we can.
And I'll comment again that I absolutely love your get up, man. The yellow beanie, yellow jumper. I did have a yellow jumper a long while ago. I think I may have given it to my brother, and I reckon I have to go over to his house and maybe source it back because it's such a good color to wear, right?
Yeah, man. It's something different. I always wear black, so it's good to have at least one thing of color.
Yeah, I rep the black today. So
nice. Is that a Suffocate shirt?
It is. It is Copious Dribble Suffocate shirt.
That is a great song.
Yeah, that's it.
Song.
Song. That's it. Yeah. I am still. I'm poking Sam relentlessly to be like, come on, man, do more.
Yeah.
I need more songs. I need more music. Speaking of music, we'll jump straight in because you are a musician of sorts. Played in so many different bands and that sort of stuff in your life as well. I'd love to ask you how you got your start in music, I suppose. We've known each other for a little bit. We've had bands that played shows together. We had a tour together at some point as well. And you're someone that I haven't really delved much into and know much about. So I'd love to know how you got your start in music. Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it something that you more so kind of fell into?
I guess since I was pretty young, my dad always used to play guitar for us when we were kids and stuff, and I enjoyed that. And then when I was 12, I asked if he could show me how to play guitar, and that's kind of when it started. So I played guitar for, 5 or 6 years, and then in a happenstance, I went to a gig a friend of mine was playing in Whyalla, and another friend I hadn't seen in years rocked up and was like, "Hey, you play music, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I play guitar." And he's like, "Can you play bass?" I was like, "Nah." He goes, "Do you want to anyway?" I was like, "Yeah, all right." And then, so that's how I joined my first band when I was 18.
Oh, wow, you're 18.
And yeah, so I had way too much anxiety as a teenager because I always wanted to play in bands, but I was like, I can't do this. There's no way. I can't be in front of people. And then I just kind of, at about 18, decided to try get over it. And that's, what kicked it off. And
That's
I've loved
awesome.
it ever since.
That's brilliant, man. I love that. It's such a funny thing when it comes to being a performer that so many of the anxiety-ridden kids and the kids that don't think they can be in front of people on stage end up being the people that are then on stage in front of all the people.
Yeah, it's so weird because I am such an anxious person, but I love performing in front of people. It's really weird. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, right. What did you sort of listen to around that period when you were kind of getting into your first band? What sort of music did your first band play?
My first band was kind of like a death metal grindy sort of band.
Nice.
Pretty. Yeah. And I was, pretty into heavy stuff at that point, like death metal and a lot of metalcore. I still listen to a lot of metalcore these days, but massively back then. Cannibal Corpse and Deicide and
sick,
just weird. Yeah,
the real heavy impactful stuff.
Yeah, don't listen to it as much these days, but when I do, I'm just like, man, this takes me back. So good.
Yeah, you do the nostalgic trip. Is that where you also sort of learned to kind of scream as well? Did you play the bass and you screamed at the same time?
No, we had Will was our only vocalist. Oh, that's not true. I'm thinking back. I did. A tiny bit.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, what we called, I don't know if you know what slams are.
Oh, okay. I don't, not really.
just sort of like weird, breathy, like death metal vocals. I don't really know how to explain it without doing it, but it's
okay, right.
Yeah, it was just kind of like adding layering. It was not vocalizing any words or anything.
Right, okay. Just
and then
adding
kind of
like emphasis, I suppose, like fattening up that certain section. Right, nice.
Pretty
cool.
much, yeah. I'd do that a little bit, and then, yeah, I guess it did kind of stem from there that I started to learn how to do it. But I didn't properly do it until the next band when I was in NX5.
Right, okay, sweet. Did you was that like a pretty quick transition from going from that band to the other? Because you grew up in Whyalla.
Yeah.
When did you move over to Adelaide?
I'm not good with dates or years. I think I was like 19 or 20 when I moved. So
right.
a couple of years after I joined that first band, we'll call them Slow Rock. We won't mention the initial name we started with because it's terrible.
Classic.
Yeah, so Slow Rock I had a falling out with Declan, who was also in Slow Rock.
Right, okay.
And then I moved to Adelaide with my partner at the time when I was like 19, 20. And then not long after that, I ended up reaching out to Declan and we made up and became friends again. And it was around that time he was like, maybe we should try Slow Rod again because we'd stopped doing anything for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did that for like a year, and then it fizzled out. We all got busy. We never officially broke up. We just stopped doing stuff.
Oh boy,
So,
the door's not exactly closed, then I suppose.
yeah. If you look at Metal Archives, it says we're an active band. So
oh shit! Hell yeah, I'll have a look at that.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of just fizzled out, and then maybe a year or so late, maybe 2-3 years later, he started No with Luke and Hayden and another bassist who we won't mention. And then, yeah, when that guy left, Declan reached out and sent me some songs and was like, do you want to give it a go? And I was like, and then he sent me a tab and I'm like, damn, this is actually kind of hard. I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, right, okay.
But I was like, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, it was really fun. So I just stuck with it. And
sick, man.
Yeah, it worked out well.
No, it sounds like a really cool kind of journey from sort of going from, I guess, band to band. Obviously, even rekindling with Declan, that's sick, man. It's always cool when relationships with friends like that can kind of grow quite well, especially if there are kind of falling out and that sort of stuff, and then you can sort of progress through. And I guess even when it comes to working together again, you sort of know how each other work. So that obviously must have sort of worked out pretty well when you were in when you did become a part of No X5.
Yeah, we had that kind of working musician relationship already. We knew how each other worked as musicians, which really helped make the transition pretty easy, considering I hadn't played much in the 2 or so years between Slow Roll and NX5. So it was good to, get back into it with somebody I already knew.
Hell yeah, dude, that sounds awesome. And obviously, that band spanned for quite a few years. I'm not too sure how long, because I guess I sort of came familiar with No X5 more so near the last year and a half to 2 years, I suppose, before you guys obviously broke up. But that must have been a real fun time, because you guys were doing tours and there were so many songs coming out and all that sort of stuff and heaps of singles in that.
Yeah,
it must have just been a massive highlight for you to be involved in that.
Yeah, it was probably 4 or 5 years, I think, in total. Not good with date and times, as I said before. But I just estimate. Yeah, but yeah, honestly, some of the best times of my life in that band. And it was awesome.
That's
so
sick.
many cool tours, going to Queensland, which had never done until then.
Yeah.
And playing in front of 3 people, which was still totally worth it.
Hell yeah. We've both been in that spot for sure.
Yeah. Most of my friends I currently have, I met through that band and a little bit from the previous band. Most of my current friends are due to being a musician in Adelaide, which is really cool. Yeah,
sick, man. I'd love to know because I obviously played bass in Sunsets back in the day. Very different genres of music, as you'd expect. But I'd love to know, because obviously, we both are used to recording stuff on bass and that sort of thing. How did you find doing the bass recording for No X5, being a guitarist first? Did you find it quite easy, or did you was it a bit more of a challenge for you to sort of get down the parts and all that kind of stuff?
I feel like I had to put in more work than some people may have, as I don't think I'm necessarily a natural musician. Like I would have to practice quite a lot to get stuff, and yeah, it was all sort of muscle memory. But I think because I enjoyed the process, I'd just sit down and I'd learn them, and then a lot of almost all the recording we did bass wise was just either at Declan or Luke's house, just like DI into his computer sort of thing.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And we'd do, just, I can't think of the word, just like clean tracks, and then we could, add amping and effects later. So
yeah, nice. Good idea.
It was pretty chilled. Like we could do it for as long as we wanted, spend hours on it if we needed to.
Yeah.
Cut it up, do little chunks. So just because of the way we did it, it wasn't too stressful.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Because we had because I remember like when I used to track for bass back in the day, we would do ours through a producer, and because I was not a good bass player and I'd sort of play the bass a little bit like a guitar, he would always change. He'd always change the parts. So then I'd have to like relearn the parts while I'm recording. But it wasn't like massive changes. It was like, instead of playing the E on like the second string, playing open on the top. And it's like, oh, okay. But then it just messes up like the pattern that I'm used to playing.
100%. I'm the same. I'm really pattern based and like muscle memory, as I was saying. So if anybody asks me to do something different, even if it's nothing rhythmically different, if it's in a different spot on the fretboard or something, it completely throws me off.
Yeah, same.
And I found when I was recording, a lot of times it was songs we'd played live a bunch, and I'd dumbed it down for live versions and then forgotten how it's meant to be played. So I'd have to kind of relearn bits as we're recording. Like Luke or Declan would just be like, no, that's you're missing this and this. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't played it like that in ages.
Yeah, true. I would like do the same thing. I'd like revert back to like how I originally played it when I was on stage, to the point where I'd be like, oh wait, that's not what that's not how I recorded it. How did I record it again? And I'd try and like figure it out.
Yes.
I'm like, guys, help. I
I'm
don't know
glad
what
I'm not the only one.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing because like that, especially for me, like that was sort of my first exposure to sort of recording in that way. And so I'm kind of like, man, is this like how it always is for like musicians and bassists? Do you like your parts just get changed when you just come in to the studio and you just have to be like, oh fuck, okay, yep, I'm just gonna like just hammer on right now and try my best.
Yeah. That's really funny that it's the same for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I always enjoyed like, because obviously most of the basses that I played were Sam's dad's basses, and he's like a massive like bass, he loves basses completely. But he was always just so out of his mind when I'd be like, oh, I love you as a bass player because you just play it so differently. I'm like, it's because I'm not a bass player.
Yeah, exactly. It's playing basses as a guitarist. It's totally different.
I play like the highs and that sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, this sounds fucking sick. Because I can't really hear I can't really hear the big bass bits when it's like in the full band area. So I'll play the high bits and stuff because I'm like, fuck yeah, it sounds sick.
So you can cut through a bit.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I love that we have that same sort of ideology on that sort of thing. Well, yeah, like I mean, as I said, I became a real good fan of like No X5. Late, obviously, like I always get to everything fucking too late. But like even so, like it was a fucking cool project, man. And obviously, like I'll touch on the tour that we went on to Whyalla and Lincoln. That was just such a fun time, like with us and Larson and Down and Out. We hadn't been on like any like massive tours with like any other bands at that point, so like it was so cool just being able to be like with a bunch of other guys sort of like just traveling around, and it was just like there was so much like maintenance involved from an end that I didn't really have a lot to do in that spot, but like it was planned out like so well, like as well as it could have been. But it was such a great time. I would have loved to know like how you felt obviously going back to Whyalla and playing that gig back obviously in your hometown.
That was awesome. Like the entire tour was some of the most fun I've ever had, and I still go back and watch that little tour documentary we have up on YouTube every now and then, and just be like, man, that was so good. But yeah, specifically going back to Whyalla was really good because the whole time I'd been in the band, like my family in Whyalla were like, you should come play a show here. Like I want to see you guys play. And I was like, yeah, we'll do it eventually. And Declan also coming from Whyalla, but having a less positive experience there. It was like, I don't want to go back to Weiler. I hate it there. So we kind of kept putting it off. And then this came up and I was like, I can finally tell my family, you can come see us play. And they were really happy. And then actually doing it. And there was a pretty massive turnout.
It was
honestly.
actually.
Like, not bad at all.
I was very
And
surprised.
yeah, it's just same. And it was just really fun. And it felt, I don't know, kind of special. It was really cool. And then, yeah, going to Lincoln as well, which I just love being in Lincoln. It's such a nice place.
Yeah, I'd never been there before. It was my first time actually being there. It was cool because one of my like longtime friends had moved there, was working at, I think it was the Lincoln Hotel, which wasn't too far from the pier. And so I was able to go and see him as well as obviously like, kind of explore with the boys and stuff and see like the sights and such.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I was kind of stressing beforehand because I didn't really know many of you guys at all. Like I kind of knew Liam from Larson a bit, and like honestly, that was about it. Like I'd met the guys from Down and Out, but not really spoken to them much. I don't think I'd ever met any of you guys from Paper Sunset. So I was just like, a full weekend on a bus with dudes I don't know. This could be really weird.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, we felt like instant friends, everyone. It was just like family. It was so good.
I was surprised, like
so much fun.
Yeah, I was surprised how well it all molded together. I mean, I knew that there would be like heaps of antics, especially with like, because our frontman Tosh is an absolute he's a whiz at like just bringing people together with his humor and his like antics.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that I thought of, because even when we would go on tour, there'd be something that he would do that would just sort of lighten the mood, or something that he would do that would just like, you would remember it for that. And I'm like, man, there's going to be like another fucking like, 12 people around this like thing right now. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but again, like, he rose to the occasion and really gave us some heaps of good memories, and like playing the games and all that kind of stuff. Even just like, even when we had like the Lincoln show, and like, we could just like, we all were just staying upstairs in like all those different rooms and shit. And we could just go and have like breakfast, and then they brought us all those drinks at the end. Like, that was just...
We got to hang out on the balcony.
That was sick, yeah.
I don't think we were meant to, but we hung out on the balcony.
That was insane. And it was late. So like, it was so late. Like, we finished the gig, like we finished playing, like, because we had like that cover set sort of thing we did at the end. Where we
because we had to play till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Because that's what we were being paid to do.
Yeah, legit. And then after that, we were all in the balcony upstairs, like going, I don't even know if we even slept that night. I can't remember. But like,
I think we probably got about 2 hours sleep. I reckon we went to sleep at like 6 and had to be up at 8. So
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'll have to bring up the foot through the roof. Like, that was just can't do this without mentioning that. That was just an incredible moment that you gave all of us.
That is something I'll never forget. It was so funny and so scary.
Oh man, surely, like, no one thinks they're gonna fall like almost to a roof, but you had like almost the very similar experience of being close to like going not the whole way through, but like there was some dangle in there.
Yeah, one leg went pretty much all the way through.
I remember when we were driving back, because I mean, obviously this is still so late, but I remember Tosh's version of it was so brilliant, because apparently he was downstairs talking to somebody, and then he looked up and just saw this foot hanging out like through the roof, hanging down. He's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he'd met a girl and he was downstairs talking to her, wasn't he?
Yeah.
About that.
And they just saw this foot just like hanging out from the top of the roof.
That's hilarious, yeah.
But
I'm so glad we got that on film too.
Yes, exactly. After this, I'm actually going to go back and watch that through, because I semi forgot that we had that and that it was still on YouTube. So I'm going to go back and watch that again, because just to reminisce.
I watched it about 2 weeks ago just for reminiscing, and it's so fun.
So awesome, man. I mean, so I guess branching out from that, No X5, you guys obviously decided to part ways after a while. And then did you sort of take a bit of a break from music? Because I know that you got yourself into a new band, but did you sort of take a break away from music for a bit before you then went into the newest band that you're in now?
I did, because I was, at the time the band broke up, I was kind of sad. I was sad about it, but at the same time, it almost felt like a relief, because that band was like full on. And I don't regret any of it. But we really tried hard. We wanted to make it big, so we were putting in so much work and so much time, and I just felt tired.
Yeah.
After a while, and so I was like, all right, now I can just rest and, live my life and do some other stuff for a bit. And I think, yeah, 9, 10 months, I didn't do anything music related. And then the opportunity came up to join what is now Spaghetti Death Trap. And I was just like, by that point, I was itching to get back into music. I was like, yeah, I really miss it. Like, I didn't think this was going to happen so soon, but I was just like, yes, I need to do something.
That's fantastic.
And then, yeah, the opportunity coming from yet another pre-existing friend, so I didn't have to meet all new people again.
Yeah,
it was
right.
really cool.
Cool. How did you all sort of come together then, I suppose? How did the band sort of form and all come together?
So the band had a much longer history that I don't know the ins and outs of, but it was, so there was Keisha, Andy, Nicholas, and another bassist who was the one who left, obviously, who I replaced. And he left on very short notice, and it was, I think, 6 days before a gig, maybe.
Oh, damn. Okay. That's not good.
No. So I was already friends with Nicholas because his wife is my fiance's best friend. So, like, we've just kind of hung out through proximity for a while.
Sick.
And then, yeah, became, like, proper friends. So he reached out and he was like, are you still playing bass? I was like, not really, but, like, I can. He's like, we've got a gig in 6 days. Do you want to learn a whole set? And I was like, oh, God, that's a massive ask.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I can do that, but I'll give it a shot. So, yeah, Andy sent through, because Andy's just a legend. He sent through all these recordings he took of himself playing all the songs.
Oh, man.
Showing me how to play them. Like, he just sent me all these tutorial videos, basically.
Oh,
was just
what
like,
a legend.
Do your best, man. So I sat down, I learnt the set, and I think we had one practice beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, together as a band, which is where I met Keisha for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of. I met her at a party at Nicholas's once for like 5 minutes. And I kind of re-met Andy because it turns out we had met at Wandenberg's before because his old band was practicing there when NX5 were practicing. So we hung out and chatted one day there.
Good old Adelaide. You sort of know everyone from like little tiny meetings everywhere. And then you'll come together like, wait a minute, I think I had that experience. I mean, this is a tangent, but like I had that experience yesterday. I was at training for wrestling, and there's a guy there that we trained together for a little bit. And then we were doing this spot and we were outside the ring and he just started looking at me. And I was like, and he was like, have we done this before? And I'm like, I don't know. Have we? He's like, was your name this? I'm like, yeah, it was. He's like, holy shit. We wrestled at Supernova like fucking 5 years ago. And I was like,
oh, no shit.
Oh, you're that guy. But now you have like a massive full beard and a lot of hair. Last time you had like a goatee and you were bald.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's so crazy that like in spots of Adelaide, like you sort of know everyone for like little spots, and then after a while you'll kind of come together. That's awesome that you guys were able to do that, especially like the fact that he was able to actually send you so much stuff and really try and prepare you to be as good as you could be for that gig.
He's been a lifesaver pretty much the whole time I've been in the band, really helping me out so much because I'm just a mess when it comes to learning new stuff. So he's always sending through these videos and tutorials. I'm just like, yeah, I need this. Thank you so much.
Oh man,
so it's been great.
That's fantastic, dude. And obviously, like you guys had your first song out as well, which was Wine Tour. Was that like a real fun song to kind of like? Was that one that they wrote before you kind of came in the band?
Yeah, that was one from the previous iteration of the band. And it was always one of the favorites. So that was really cool to actually get to sit down and put it in a recording because, I don't know, I love having the actual proper recordings of these songs. It's really cool that you can listen to them forever now. It's done. It's set on tape.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ones I learnt for that first gig. And it hasn't changed too much since that initial iteration, but yeah.
That's awesome, man. No, I'm happy that you've got yourself now into like, a brand new band that like, you're back on the stage, you're back in the room, putting down the bass and all that kind of stuff. It's good because I mean, I think a lot of times like I think we all sort of have like it's good to go through those kind of breaks from like being on stage or being involved in something like music. And if it's something that you really want to do, you do get that itch to sort of want to go back and want to do it. And it's so great that like
Sure.
again, like the opportunity came up for you to do something, and like you jumped at the opportunity to do it, and you did it, and now it's like sweet. Now I'm a part of this. It's really it works in such a wonderful way, I think.
And I met some really great friends from just taking up this opportunity that came my way. Like now, all four of us, I should say, are just like really good friends, and it's so much fun. And it's just, it's weird how these things just pop up sometimes and totally change what you're doing in your life.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
100%, man. I'd love to dive into the Twitch streaming now and like the video game stuff and the YouTube stuff, because like that's something that it's one of those things that like I don't know too much about it personally, but it's something that I saw, it just sort of popped up that you were doing. And I was like, what's all this sort of stuff? And then obviously I saw you doing like a WWF video game, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm very interested now. So like, take me through that. What was your sort of like your want to sort of dive into doing that sort of thing?
I think that kind of came around it might have been a little bit before the last band ended, but not too far out from it. And it was just kind of something to fill my time. Like, I always want to do different creative things, I guess. I always have the urge. And then I watch YouTube all the time, like constantly.
A lot of people do, I think.
I was just like, I kind of want to try this. And I was watching Pokemon YouTubers at the time a lot. I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
So then I started making Pokemon videos. And I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. Like, I'm enjoying the whole process of like the recording and then the editing and stuff. Turns out I really like editing videos, funny enough.
Nice.
So I was doing that for a bit. I was really enjoying it. Not really getting any views. Like, it was next to nothing. And I was like, that's fine. Like, I'm doing it for fun.
That's the thing.
But then I started watching this dude he had a challenge to beat every Nintendo 64 game. I'm like, that sounds kind of fun. I was like, but I can't just steal that idea. Maybe I'll do Super Nintendo games. So I'm not 100% stealing it, which was probably a bad idea because there's like over 700 of them and a lot of them just suck.
Yeah, right.
Some of them just not well made and really hard and really bad. So, but I did that for a bit and I was really like, at first, as usual, I was loving it at first, and then it became like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself trying to get it like regular schedules for like streams and recordings, and then putting out videos, and I kind of burnt myself out, so I stopped doing it for a while because I was just like, that's too hard. I'm just not doing it at all, which is classic me. But during the time, it was really fun. Like, I bought myself a green screen, I bought all these lights, and like started doing these recordings with green screens and learning how to edit, like, keying out videos and stuff, and just having fun with the editing process and just doing dumb stuff. And
sick, man.
That was what I was really enjoying. But I found the streaming on Twitch wasn't my favorite part. Like, I enjoyed it when I was doing it, but I always felt real anxious beforehand.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like that performance thing.
Yeah.
And I kept feeling anxious a lot, so I'd put it off or I wouldn't do it, and then I'd feel bad that I didn't do it. And then, so that's kind of what made me stop for a while there.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because like it really does, like it puts a lot of pressure on someone when you're like playing a video game, but then like you're live streaming it to other people to watch you play it. That's like, 'cause I mean, when it first came around, I was like, oh, like are people actually going to want to watch things like this? And obviously they do, like it's incredibly popular. But like, I mean, for me, a lot of the times that I used to play games a lot back in the day, I don't play them too much now. I have like maybe 3 or 4 that I play like sometimes every now and then. But like, it was always just after I'd play them, I'm like, man, I couldn't play this and show other people I was playing this. I'm the worst when it comes to playing video games. I'm like shouting at things and swearing.
I'm actually not very good at video games.
Yeah,
so
that's so
I'm
terrible.
Performing in front of people playing it, and I'm just not doing well.
Exactly.
It's not great.
It's like I can go on stage and like you perform well when it comes to like playing the bass like a guitar or possibly screaming, but then when it comes to like trying to perform well like a video game and just like not knowing anything of what I'm doing. I mean, people might dig that. But at the same time, it's like, man, I'm botching this bad. Like, I don't want people to see this, but it's great that you like gave it it's awesome you gave it a shot, man. And even like the fact that you found that you really like to like edit videos and stuff. it's another really cool thing because I mean, even this is going to be something that I'll have to edit later on. So like,
Yeah.
it's almost like a part of life when it comes to creative stuff. It's like video editing just comes hand in hand with it now.
Yeah, and from that experience, I learned what I liked about the process, and I found I really liked the research I put into the games for the first half of the videos, where I would talk about the history and that, and then
Sick.
how it came to be. And so I've got a backlog now of scripts I've written up for a different style of video that I want to go and record.
Sweet.
And I just haven't done it yet. Partially because the room that I would do it in is occupied, which is fine. I'm not in a rush. Yeah. So when I've got downtime, I've just been like writing up these scripts that I want to record, and then, then I feel like I've found with the YouTube stuff, the avenue I want to go down. Sick. And it's more, it's just, I'm looking forward to actually recording it and then getting to do the editing and stuff. But I just got to wait till I got the opportunity.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
100%, man.
So I'm not totally giving up on it. I'm just pivoting to a different direction.
That's perfect, man. Yeah, just finding what you like better and sort of going in that spot, because like it's hard to be able to try and do 100 million things at once, especially if it's not something that you kind of want to do or you don't really enjoy the process of. And I think that's a big thing. Like, because I mean, when it comes to that kind of stuff, like there's a process behind it. Even when it comes to like, this kind of stuff, there's a big process behind it. And it's like, you don't need to like love the process, but you need to like, want to do the process. And like, that's a big thing, especially when it comes to editing, because like it can take so long.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I found. It was about, half the process I wanted to do and I enjoyed. And the other half was like, I have to do this to get this style of video done. So if I cut that out and change the style of video, I can just do the stuff that I'm actually passionate about. So looking forward to it.
Nice, man. And I'll finish off here by asking, did you have like a Super Nintendo back in the day, or did you just like newly sort of purchase it to play the games that you were going to try and play?
No, we had one back in the day. I think it's at my dad's house now. So I grew up playing it when I was a kid.
Hell yeah.
But for this process, it was easier to just use emulators and, screen record on my computer and stuff rather than actually... Because if I had real hardware, I'd have to use like a capture card and all this, and it's
okay.
It's a whole process, and it it cost me a lot of money. So
yeah, surely.
This was the free way to do it.
Yeah, because
less legal, I guess.
Yeah. Totally. Because I had like the oldest console I had was like a PlayStation 1, and it wasn't even like the big one. It was like the tiny, like little tiny, like box thing you could you could like put in like a handbag or something. It was tiny, but like that's like,
one you mean, yeah.
And the only other ones, I mean, you'd go to like friends' house and stuff, and they might have like an N64 or like a GameCube or something, and that's the only sort of experience you got to sort of have playing those kind of games. So it was quite cool, like watching your videos of you playing the Super Nintendo, being like, oh cool, this is what it looks like. Nice. Like it's the graphics are so whack as you'd expect, but like it really does hit you right in the nostalgia, surely.
For sure. Yeah, and you come across some weird stuff you didn't know about when you're looking through the list of every game that was released. There's some weird ones out there.
Yeah, I definitely admire your research of going through every single game and like, trying to beat every single game as well. Like that's a duly process, but like it's a commitment and a half, I think.
Yeah. But even specifically that WWF one you mentioned was cool because it was made by the people who made Mortal Kombat.
Oh, really?
It was such a weird game. Yeah. Same company. So it's got like, it's a combination of Mortal Kombat and wrestling. It was cool.
Fuck, that's sick. Surely they're going to do a modern day version of that. I'm sure there'd be people like frothing to get their hands on something like that. Because like, oh man, even I would buy that. Even I would I would get down to that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dude, this has been such an awesome chat. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been so good to talk to you about all the stuff about music and really like, find out how, you've been able to just like, put yourself into bands and really just like bring out and give yourself an experience of playing live in front of people, which is something that you never thought you would be able to do. And it's really liberating to know that, you've been able to do that to the best of your ability and that you are still doing that today. So I wish you all the best in your music journey. I'm sure I'll be seeing you around Adelaide at some point for sure. But even so,
thanks, man.
Thank you for joining me today, dude.
Thank you. I enjoyed my time. I'd love to come back another time and talk more about, what's happening with Spaghetti Death Trap. We're just going to keep doing stuff. So, I'm sure there'll be more to talk about in the future, longer we're together.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's been really fun today.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for tuning into the episode this week. Hope you enjoyed the conversation with Dylan and myself. Go check out Spaghetti Death Trap, give them a follow on the socials, and keep up to date with everything that Dylan has going on. And as for myself, Follow me on the Instagram or the YouTube at This Is Chasm. Leave a rating or review for the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I'll see you next week for a new episode with a new guest here on Chasm Converses.